I think we're 20 minutes in, and that's the first time we said
Yeah.
where it is and what time, but we're going to splice
Yeah.
it. Again, the open house is December 7th at Wild Marsh from 4 to 7.
This is the Buffalo Community Podcast, all about the greatest small town in the USA, the people in it, and how it all works together. Here are your hosts, Tyler Reese and Mark Benzer.
Hey everybody, it's Tyler with the Buffalo Community Podcast coming at you with a very special, I don't want to say breaking news, but a very special episode that was kind of unplanned from our last record date. But we've got Dave Kelly, City Planner would be the title.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about the community plan for Buffalo. A couple weeks ago, we had a meeting with several, I don't want to say a bunch, but several, 7 to 12 individual leaders, business leaders, just influence. I hate saying we're influencers, but makes us feel special.
Movers and shakers.
Movers and shakers about the comprehensive plan for Buffalo for the next 20 years.
Yep.
Would that be an accurate statement?
Yep.
Correct.
Okay. And then the idea for this specific podcast, this episode, is asking you guys to participate. You're going to see this. Which one can we zoom in on? That one. See this all over social media. And you're also going to see a link to a SurveyMonkey survey asking for your input about this. Still true?
Yep.
All right.
You're on a roll.
Well, thanks again for coming in.
Yeah.
Well, let's tell me a little bit about yourself, and then we're talking
Yeah,
a
of
little
course.
more about this.
I'm David Kelly. I'm the the title, I guess, is formally a planning specialist, but it's a city planner. Started with the city middle of August. Spent 2 weeks working remotely because I was living in Buffalo, New York, believe it or not. So I did my master's of urban planning in State University of New York at Buffalo, and then relocated here. Been working for the city for, I guess, 3 months now. And one of the big projects I was brought on to work on is this, the 2040 Comprehensive Plan Update that has been now named the Buffalo Community Plan.
Yeah, I think they hijacked Buffalo Community Podcast.
Yeah, they're like,
But we're okay, right?
Yeah.
Those coattails.
yeah, they're like, that has traction. Let's use
Yes,
this one.
yes,
So,
absolutely.
But yeah, so I'm working with the city for quite some time, working on a lot of different projects, wear a lot of different hats. I focus on the planning aspect of it, so a lot of more of the nitty gritty details of fence posts. Is this allowed? Is this building allowed? Yada, yada, yada. But then also an economic development perspective too. So with both tie into this Buffalo Community Plan because you can't have community development without economic development and then vice versa. But yeah, so this plan is, we had, as you mentioned, we had our first meeting, I guess it was 2 weeks ago? Was it last week?
Something like that, yeah.
I think it was, 2 weeks ago. In terms of the timeline, there will be, we'll have about 4 more of those task force focus group meetings. But we'll be working on this project up until, they say the end date is about September of 2022, but they also said just be prepared if it's a couple extra months, maybe end of the year, just in case something comes up. Because one thing about plans is they're never like flawless. It's never very smooth. But yeah.
Mine are.
Yeah.
But
Duh.
sorry.
Yeah.
So, well, one way to get the community involved is this open house, and the open house is just really saying, explain it.
Yep.
We don't have the plan yet.
Yeah.
But we kind of have a baseline.
Yep. Yeah. So the open house is also a chance, I guess, to let a lot of residents know who may not go to some of the council meetings and hear about it in some of the news that we're doing this comprehensive plan update. Because I guess a little backdrop about comprehensive plan updates is they are the guiding document for cities generally. So as a city grows, because you have to have a plan for where it's going to grow, especially in Buffalo, where we're growing like crazy right now. So kind of have an idea of where that's going to go. So the comprehensive plan update is we're trying to have this open house to first raise awareness about what we're doing and why we're doing it, and what does this impact residents. How do you see development growing, which is where we have that survey there for people to fill out. as they come in and see. But then we'll also have our 2 consultants there. So Lydia Major, who's from LHB, Landscape Architecture and Planning. So you'll see her a lot 'cause she does a lot of the advocacy outreach and everything. And then Mike Lamb, who was a consultant for the 2040 Downtown Visions Plan. So that's the plan that just came out in April of this year that focuses on the downtown component. So yeah, pretty much an opportunity to have everyone get to know each other and see faces that you'll see for the next year. My face you'll see all the time anyways, but still, as I'm still new here, meeting people and,
Yeah, usually people give the camera a couple of finger guns. With
Oh,
this.
yeah.
You're going to be seeing me.
you'll be seeing me for a while. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it's great. I've already taken the survey. I don't know. Have you taken it yet?
I have not yet.
Okay.
No.
Have you? Yep. Luke, have you?
I started it, but I don't think I finished. I submitted it yet.
Yeah.
So,
It takes 5 to 7 minutes.
Yeah, very quick.
Super, super quick, 5 to 7 minutes. And right now I kind of urge, this is the time for some feedback.
exactly.
I kind of want to talk a little bit about past surveys.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was the 2040 downtown plan.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're reversing like 18 months ago or so.
Yeah.
Something very similar was like this. And I think only 76 people responded, which is horrible.
Yeah.
Like you can't get any type of vision on 76
Yep.
people.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of pushback after saying, well, how can you do that after only 70?
Yeah.
Well, here's your chance.
To do it.
Get
yeah.
involved. You
Yeah.
know, come to the open house, fill out the survey. And I think that's very important for 10 years from now. If you didn't fill it out, don't complain.
We're already kind
you
of
know.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
I will say too, and it is the importance about having the survey filled out now, is because we have the consultants here, and then I'm here, and we're pretty much the facilitators of a plan that's really for the community. So like while we have some ideas of, oh, this would be nice here, this is what we've heard about in the past, we do a lot of our work based off of what the community wants to do, obviously. So if a community doesn't like something or really does like something, let us know so then we know, well, all right, well, that's what the community wants to do. I'll change what I'm doing to focus on that.
Yeah.
Because that's, I mean, part of the whole reason I'm here too is just to facilitate that process. And Mike and Lydia we're all kind of working together to see, well, what does the community want?
Yeah.
So having the survey filled out ahead of time saves us, first, a lot of struggles later on if something's goes against the grain that someone didn't like, but then also gives us an idea so we know where to go and where to take it. So,
Is it true that the city's not mind readers?
it's some may think that. I would say for the most part, yes, we're not the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair assumption. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I know it's not a joke because it's a very serious issue. I think question 14 and on the survey, it's only 13 long. But question 14 is if we want a Chipotle and everybody says yes, it's going in the plan.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Funny you say that. So the amount of times I've only been here 3 months, and Chipotle has just been dropped oh yeah, so thoughts on a Chipotle, and I'm like, just anything, something's unrelated to it. They're like, yeah, so this would be great for a Chipotle.
Right.
I'm like, all right.
It's like, I'm not a part of this inside joke yet.
Yeah. I'm like, what is Buffalo's fascination with Chipotle?
Yeah.
And now I know. So, well, I mean, so I guess I'll say this too. There's a lot of, and I can speak on this because this was mentioned in the 2040 Downtown Visions Plan, but for the government center site, obviously, which mentioned a little bit earlier, it's going to be it's a once in a lifetime opportunity for the city. I mean, we won't get another time where we have this much developable land on the downtown with Great Lake views as an open dirt site, potentially. Depends on what the Wright County decides to do. But with that, there's a lot of people are interested in the outcome of that.
Yeah.
And the 2040 Downtown Visions Plan that was that only had 76 original responses. It did mention the discussion of having a commercial and retail component where potentially you could have a Chipotle or something along those lines. So that's all to say that pretty much filling out that survey has long-standing ramifications too, because we'll know what the residents want, and we won't go against what. There's a lot of residents want something like a Chipotle, and it's on my radar and something I'm aware of. So
Yeah.
But at the same time, too, it's not on you to bring Chipotle to town, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
on
yeah.
an entrepreneur to say,
Yep.
I want to bring a Chipotle to Buffalo, and kind of correct me if I'm wrong, but the community plan is part of their job is to make it attractive for
Yep.
Chipotle to want to
Exactly.
come here.
Yep.
So it's not like you're just pulling all the strings on what businesses come
calling
and
up
boom,
to-
you,
Yeah.
come
on
you're gonna
in.
build right
Just like
here.
yeah,
You're
reaching
gonna
the
build
hat
it over
and-
here.
Yeah.
You know,
You can
so
go right
This isn't Sim City.
Yeah,
Right.
I know.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, and to your point, that's such a good game. That's what got me into planning originally.
I was gonna ask that.
Yeah, it's actually, believe it or not, I have a
Yeah.
background in
Oh, a tornado. Let's go.
Yeah, so I have a background in finance and supply chain, and then found out that what urban planning was, and they're like, it's Sim City in real life, and then I'm like, well, I'm hooked to it.
Good not to be in the supply chain industry
Yeah,
this year.
A little
make
bit
sure
different.
everybody's getting a water line.
Yeah,
everybody's
like
getting
connecting and stuff. But yeah, I mean, to your point though about the Chipotle. So that's the other thing about this plan is this is something that's referenced by when I get calls about developers. They're asking about what's the plan, what's
Yeah.
any documents I can use to get an idea of what you want to see. Because if there's one thing, I mean, it's pretty evident by the amount of development we've had. If there's one thing about Buffalo is because it's growing so big. I mean, my phone is ringing all the time with developers saying, "Hey, I haven't done work in the city ever. I heard about Buffalo, but looks pretty nice. What do you got for me? Like, what can we
Right.
do?"
Plans are normal for cities.
Yes.
This isn't unique to Buffalo.
Yeah.
This is kind of like, hey, actually, I kind of want to jump to like some of an example of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of in the questions is, what would you like to see? Would you like to see more restaurants, retail, commercial space, different industries, parks and trails? I mean, it's all that stuff.
Yep.
And so it's giving. You can give a few different options. You not just say, I only want this.
Yeah.
It's kind of that grading scale. So that's kind of an example.
Yep.
So when it's normal for a developer to contact a city and say, could I make some money here? Basically, saying, hey, what opportunities do we have?
We have it.
They
Yeah.
take a look at that, and that's how they make their.
And that's also our guiding document for when we get those calls, because a lot of times if something comes up with a if someone's interested in this particular site, I can say, well, I mean, I have some background knowledge of what other people have been interested about and other calls from developers, but more specifically, I have this plan that was approved by council that was a year-long process. This was noted for this area.
Yeah.
So it's something that I can say that it's not just me saying it. Obviously, there's a year's worth of community input adopted by the council, a lot of vetting, especially this one, that I can pass along. That it is really useful. And you mentioned too, it is very broad. You can answer a lot of different parts of it. So
So it's not some new guy comes into town and starts telling Buffalo
Wheeling and
what you
dealing.
should do.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
From New York.
Right, yeah. You have, yeah.
yeah.
So you have years of data input,
Yep.
information to say, well, yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine what it's like, and I don't want to get too off topic here,
Yeah.
but what it's like to come into town and just be so just immersed
Yeah.
in the future development of a town that you've lived in for a few months.
Yeah. Well,
That's just wild.
To your point, I mean, that's something that because I'm fairly new here, it's one of those when I'm looking at all these things, I have ideas of like, oh, that would be cool, but it's hard for me to know how to move forward with something unless I have something I can reference.
You need an NFL football team
Yeah.
in this town.
Yeah.
It worked in Buffalo, New York.
The Buffalo Bills need a
Yeah.
new stadium. Where are they going to go? How about here? Well, and it's funny too because that is I use these plans as like that is my basis for everything, which is great because it's how it should be. But not only is it how it should be, but it's also a lot of people tell me they want a lot of different things. But if it's something that's been vetted by a lot of people, that is my guiding document. So something that is community based is the number one thing I'm referencing every time. So it's saying, well, this is what the community said that they wanted, and this is what was adopted. So you may like this idea, and I get it, but I will say it goes against what the plan says. So there might be some pushback.
Right. No, I think that's always good. It's like that checking it because
It's a good check, yes.
it's a good checkpoint, and it's not just downtown. This is Buffalo. This is downtown, the 25 and 55
Yes.
corridor. I mean, it's all city limits. It's the comprehensive
Comprehensive one, yes.
Well, I think it's great. I really urge everybody to fill out that survey. I've put an arbitrary number of 1,000 people.
Yeah.
I think it would be fantastic
Sign
to
me
get
up,
1,000 people to respond to this. I mean,
Yeah.
we have plenty of people in Buffalo, and I know there's plenty of people in these community post sites that have a voice and want to
Yep.
voice it. Do it before while it counts.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
So,
Do it early so then we know ahead of time, so we're
Yeah.
not spending the effort, you know, to move forward on stuff too.
putting out the fires.
Yeah. I will say too with the so the location of this one is at the Wild Marsh Golf. I can never say this together. Wild Marsh Golf Club.
Almost.
Almost, yeah. I
You'll
counseled
get
the
there.
other
Pretty
day.
close.
You'll
Pretty
get there.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the,
Trying.
Yeah.
Trying left to right.
Here we go. Slowly but sure, sound it out. But this particular open house on the 7th at Wild Marsh is going to be good too to not only to bring awareness about what we're doing, but then also one of the things we really want to do, and I really want to do, especially in this new position and being new, is I want people to know who I am. So,
Yeah.
you know, as development things come up, for better or for worse, they know who the person is to talk to.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm aware of pretty much I'm aware of everything. I want to have a pulse on the trigger of that is the city of Buffalo's development concerns and everything. So this is great because it not only gives me an opportunity for that, but then also some of the people leading the plan. You know, Mike Lamb is years of experience doing this. Lydia Major, years of experience, and they've been in the community before. They work for a lot of local business owners, but it's really great to also put a face to a plan. You know, so we have an idea of who you're talking to, and we're not some people out of town you never seen before. We're people that have been in town doing this kind of work for a while. So
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. That was, I think we're 20 minutes in, and that's the first time we said
yeah.
where it is and what time, but we're going to splice
Yeah.
it. Again, the open house is December 7th at Wild Marsh from 4 to 7. I'll probably put this on the front end
Yeah.
of everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anything you wish we would have talked about that we haven't yet?
Do you like Buffalo?
I do. It's been, I'll say the one of the most exciting parts
No.
about this is
I hate it here.
I hate it there. I can't wait to go back.
I'll leave these and head out. Yeah. No, but one of the things that's been really fun is when I started this position, it was when I was talking to Lorene, she was like, "All right, Dave, we're gonna need you to like day one," and I was like, "All right, I can do that." And she wasn't kidding. It was like day one. All right, Dave, we got this, that, and the other thing. And I love those kind of projects, and there's so many different things happening. You know, like I'm working on, now I'm aware of fiber efforts in the city. So I'm like, well, how does fiber work in the context of development? You know, hand in hand. It's perfect. So it's been great, and it's been exciting, and it's fun to go to work every day, and then there's a lot of moving parts, and sometimes organized chaos, but it's exciting. You know?
Sure.
At least now. I don't know if it'll
Yeah,
be.
I'm glad you have the excitement for it.
It sounds great.
We need
Channel that.
somebody to-
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
One of these days, I'm gonna have to unpack my boxes
Yeah.
and like get moved in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it sounds like you've been busy and,
Yep.
and jumping right in.
Oh,
and,
yes.
It's good to get to know you a little bit.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Get an idea of
Yeah.
what's going on, because I do think it would be easy to confuse the downtown plan with this plan.
Yes.
Oh, one quick question:
Yeah.
Is this replacing a previous plan?
Yes. So they're usually updated. I think plans are updated every 25 years, I believe.
Okay.
For the next 20 years. But the last comprehensive plan done was in 2007. So that plan, was adopted by council, and I think it was written in 2007. I think adopted in early 2008. And that plan has been useful in guiding a lot of development. But the other thing about that is part of the reason I'm really glad we are updating this. Not only should we be doing it because we have to, but then also we should be doing it because it's good to know where the growth is. But where the growth has occurred and then where developers are interested has been somewhat different than where we always envision it. We have this vision of it's going to grow here and then here. But then you have a developer come in and someone out on the Buffalo Township wants to sell their land. We have the annexation agreement, and then there's developments happening. Could be happening there. It's a different. It's like a guiding document that it puts things into context. But that's part of the reason you want to keep updated with it is because things change. People get interested in different things all the time.
Yeah. Maybe it's putting a cart before the horse. I mean, I guess I'm not going to ask it because I don't want it to skew people's what they want.
Oh, okay.
I was going to ask, is there an area that developers have concentrated on and saying, hey, we're really interested in this piece? I don't want that answer right now
Yeah.
because I want the non-tainted feedback here.
Yeah,
Instead of like, ooh,
Where-
oh, heck no.
Oh,
I
yes,
don't
I
want
see what
them
you're
to
saying.
have that planted in there.
Yeah,
So
as it comes in. No, it's
I'll
totally
ask
fine.
you off air.
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, that's the thing too, is that there's a lot of different areas, so it's nice that there isn't one specific area, which makes it hard to kind of know where it's. I mean, I'm sometimes surprised. I'm like, oh, all right, well, that's okay. You know, but as they come in, I'm like, oh, all right. That's where interest. If there's people interested in specific areas, there's places I expected them to be interested
Yeah.
in, but then other ones, I'm like, oh, sure, yeah, we haven't. I mean, it wasn't on the
Nobody's
board.
ever asked me that before.
Yeah, I'm like,
Why?
this is new. I still have to figure out where that is. But sure, once I do,
Yeah. Describe it, please. It's next to a field.
yeah. Oh,
Please
okay.
be better
I
than
need a little
that.
bit more. I need a little bit a barn there.
Yeah.
You know? Some type of intersection.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks
Yeah,
for coming
absolutely.
in.
Thank you for both having me.
Yep.
Absolutely.
For the Buffalo Community Podcast, I'm Tyler.
I'm Mark.
And I'm David Kelly.